Hello everybody. If you want to read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short Story 663, The Plumbing Disaster. Intermediate. Barry was a plumber with a very confident smile. He always told his customers, "Don't worry, I've seen it all before." Unfortunately, this wasn't true. One Monday morning, Mrs. Jenkins called him about a leaking toilet. Barry arrived in his van, carrying his big red toolbox. He walked into the bathroom, whistling happily. "Easy job," he said. He bent down and twisted a pipe. Suddenly, splash! A jet of water shot straight into his face. He slipped on the wet floor, landed on his back, and knocked over the toilet brush holder. Mrs. Jenkins gasped. "Is everything under control?" she asked nervously. "Of course," Barry said, dripping wet. "Just testing the pressure." Barry tried again, this time with a bigger wrench. He turned the pipe in the other direction. Whoosh! The water sprayed across the bathroom like a fountain in a park. Mrs. Jenkins's cat ran in, saw the water, and jumped onto Barry's shoulder, digging its claws into his jacket. "Ow! Get off!" Barry shouted, spinning around. The cat flew into the laundry basket, knocking it over. Wet socks rolled across the hallway. Mrs. Jenkins covered her mouth. "Maybe I should call someone else." But Barry wasn't ready to give up. He stood tall, trousers sticking to his legs, hair plastered to his forehead. He turned off the main water supply, tightened every pipe he could see, and finally, with a loud clunk, the leak stopped. He gave a victorious grin. "See? Perfect job. No problem at all." At that exact moment, a loud glug, glug, glug came from the toilet. The bowl bubbled like a witch's cauldron, and then, bloop! Brown water exploded upward, covering Barry from head to toe. There was a long silence. Barry wiped his face slowly. Mrs. Jenkins whispered, "Oh dear." Barry sighed. "Well, at least the leak is fixed." Mrs. Jenkins handed him a towel. "Yes, Barry, but perhaps next time I'll call an electrician." Barry blinked. "An electrician?" She smiled sweetly. "Yes, it might be less messy." Barry stood there, defeated, dripping, and smelling awful. He packed up his tools and left with as much dignity as a plumber covered in toilet water could possibly have. And from that day on, Barry never said, "Don't worry, I've seen it all before." Vocabulary notes. Leak, noun verb. Meaning, a small hole or crack that lets liquid or gas escape, often by accident. Example, Mrs. Jenkins called him about a leaking toilet. Extra example, there's a leak in the roof. Water drips onto the floor when it rains. Similar words, phrases. Drip, seep, escape, spillage. Fountain, noun. Meaning, a structure that sends water up into the air, often decorative in a park or garden. In the story, it is used humorously to describe water spraying everywhere. Example, the water sprayed across the bathroom like a fountain in a park. Extra example, tourists threw coins into the fountain for good luck. Similar words, phrases. Spray, jet, spurt, geyser. Victorious, adjective, meaning, feeling or showing success after winning or solving a problem. Example, he gave a victorious grin. Extra example, the football team was victorious after scoring in the final minute. Similar words, phrases. Triumphant, successful, proud, winning. Defeated, Adjective. Meaning, feeling like you have lost or failed with no energy left to continue. Example. Barry stood there, defeated, dripping, and smelling awful. Extra example. After trying 3 times, she felt defeated and gave up. Similar words, phrases. Beaten, hopeless, powerless, downhearted. Dignity, noun. Meaning, calm, respectful behavior or appearance, even in a difficult or embarrassing situation. Example. He packed up his tools and left with as much dignity as a plumber covered in toilet water could possibly have. Extra example. The Queen carried herself with dignity during the ceremony. Similar words, phrases. Self-respect, honor, pride, composure. Story written by ChatGPT AI. Image created by ChatGPT AI. To read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into a pretty funny story, actually. It's about what happens when overconfidence meets, well, plumbing reality.
Yeah, it's called the plumbing disaster, and it's gold. For you, the listener, we're not just here for the laughs, though there are plenty.
Oh, definitely.
We're actually tracing, the perfect storm of how things go wrong. It's about extracting vocabulary, sure, but also seeing that narrative arc of disaster unfold.
Right. And it all centers on Barry, the plumber, his defining traits, a very confident smile, and that classic line, "Don't worry, I've seen it all before."
Ah, yes, the kiss of death phrase in these situations. It sets the stage perfectly for chaos.
Exactly. So the setup is simple, Mrs. Jenkins calls him. Her toilet has a leak. Just a small one, she says.
Key word there, leak, a hole, a crack, something letting liquid out where it shouldn't. Seems minor.
And Barry thinks easy peasy, whistling as he walks in, probably already counting the money.
He expects a quick fix, but the story immediately throws a wrench in the works, literally almost.
Almost immediately, his first twist of the pipe, and splash. Water right in the face.
Not a great start.
No. He slips on the instantly wet floor, knocks over the toilet brush holder. It's immediate slapstick.
And his reaction is priceless. Instead of oops, he yells, "Just testing the pressure."
Yeah. Pure denial. He cannot admit he messed up, even soaked and with a brush holder rolling around.
That denial, that's the critical moment.
Mm-hmm.
It forces him to double down instead of, maybe pausing and reassessing.
So he goes for attempt number 2, bigger wrench this time.
Oh, no. The bigger wrench approach.
Yep, turns it the opposite way, apparently. And whoosh, it's not just a spray now.
It becomes a fountain. The story used that word perfectly, a structure sending water skywards. It's meant to be ridiculous here.
Utterly ridiculous. Full-on bathroom geyser. And as if that wasn't enough.
Here comes the cat.
Exactly. Mrs. Jenkins and Cat decides this is the moment to attack Barry, claws out, latches onto his leg.
Which, naturally, causes him to stumble around, probably screaming, with wet socks, ending up God knows where. It's just layers of humiliation.
Total environmental anarchy. Like you said before we started recording, it's moved way beyond a simple plumbing problem.
The fountain and the cat, they're basically the universe telling Barry, you thought you were in control. Think again. Punishing the hubris.
So somehow, amidst the chaos, the cat attack, the indoor water feature, he manages to find the main supply valve and shut it off.
Finally, a moment of sense.
He tightens everything up, the water stops, silence. He's standing there, drenched, trousers clinging, probably water squelching in his shoes.
And what does he do?
He gives Mrs. Jenkins this victorious grin, like he just won a major battle.
Oh, that's just perfect. Victorious feeling, you've succeeded, you've triumphed. The story sets him up beautifully here.
Because you know it can't end there. It's too neat.
Exactly. That little victory is purely there to make the real disaster hit harder. The calm before the Well, the brown storm.
Because right then, gel egg, a noise from the toilet.
The dreaded glug.
The bowl starts bubbling, the story says, like a witch's cauldron, and then billow pee.
Oh dear. Bloop.
Brown water explodes upwards, everywhere, all over Barry, head to toe.
Just,
Wow.
wow. The ultimate plumbing nightmare. He went from a leak to a sewage eruption.
Instantly, he's defeated, no more bravado, just dripping, smelling awful, utterly crushed.
Defeated, like you've lost, failed, got no energy left. That's Barry in that moment, covered in, well, failure.
And Mrs. Jenkins, bless her, hands him a towel, doesn't yell, just gently says.
What does she say? This part's great.
She suggests maybe next time she'll call an electrician. Says it might be less messy.
Oof. That quiet comment is so much more cutting than shouting would be. Just a calm, devastating verdict on his competence.
It really is. Forces him to confront the sheer scale of his failure. So what's left?
Just dignity. Or the attempt at it. Trying to pack up his tools calmly, respectfully, while, covered in sewage and shame.
Dignity as the last possible shield against total embarrassment.
Pretty much. Just trying to maintain some composure in an impossible situation.
But the source material makes it clear the lesson landed. Hard. Barry apparently never said, "Don't worry, I've seen it all before," ever again.
You'd hope not. And that really is the core lesson for you, the listener. See how that initial overconfidence spiraled. Denial, escalation, total chaos.
Right. From a tiny leak to that.
So maybe think about a time perhaps in your own work or life where a small issue got way out of hand. Was it because the first assessment was wrong? Or maybe, like Barry, was it a little bit of ego preventing asking for help or just admitting, oops, I messed up right at the start? Something to think about.